Welcome. My name is Sandra Sidor, and I'm looking forward to exploring the key benefits of organizational storytelling for public libraries together. It has never been more critical for librarians to take the role of advocate and ensure that the wide range of services we provide support the needs of our community. These stories need to be shared and experienced by audiences of all ages, from municipal counselors that dictate the annual budget to the kindergarten children seated on the storytime carpet. It is in the telling of our community impact stories that our library services move beyond mere transactional operations to qualitative life-changing opportunities. The publicly shared story of our libraries communicates our vision and are supported by our internal stories that build workplace culture and influence staff to act on the shared message. This presentation will focus on 6 key benefits of organizational storytelling for public libraries: the communication of vision, the capturing of organizational collateral, the support of a growth mindset, and as a tool in change management, essential discussions, and culture creation. The concepts presented are based on various research resources, but focus on the outcomes of a study conducted within a nonprofit organization that found that storytelling, in the form of relating past events, created shared meaning and purpose amongst the employees. Kaye and Jacobson state that stories can be vehicles for capturing people's experiences and communicating them in ways that relate to an organization's traditions, values, beliefs, and priorities. Stories can also create and maintain a sense of community among diverse people in an organization. And stories can foster widespread understanding of the subtle cultural and political realities of an organization's life. Storytelling communicates library vision by sharing future goals and sparking committed followers. There are many key benefits for libraries to effectively tell their stories. It communicates the leader's future vision for the organization and engages both the community and staff to become followers and participate in the journey. The story of the library must remain current and relevant to the communities we serve. In order for libraries to guarantee they don't fall out of the discussion, they must remain central in the facilitation of their community's stories, creating spaces that engage residents to exchange ideas and concepts in open, safe environments. The Barrie Public Library's 2018 Community Report showcases their story within the CEO message. This story relays how they are meeting their strategic initiatives through major milestones, innovative services and programs, and new partnerships within the community. Idea Exchange Board Chair and CEO convey their organizational story by noting the supportive role the library takes during the pandemic in their 2020 community report. They share how the library transitioned to online programs, expanded their e-book collection, and offered online memberships, connecting those sheltering at home with access to essential resources. Organizational storytelling drives culture. It creates a shared purpose and supports a cohesive culture. Storytelling is a powerful tool in organizational learning, as it communicates implicit organizational values. One of the primary goals of sharing stories amongst the staff is to create a shared purpose that supports a cohesive culture. With a strong workplace culture in place, the organization can support the necessary change management. These stories can also motivate engagement and alignment for large-scale initiatives. Formally written values can remain static and confined to the documentation of a strategic plan. The itemized lists of values must be operationalized by the organization and modeled by the library board and CEO. The values listed above are the official values of the Barrie Public Library. Left on the web page, their impact is limited to those staff members that may read the values or new staff perhaps that are onboarding. It is not until the management of the organization takes the values and relays them in an easily digested format that they become a dynamic, living document. This intranet post from the Barrie Public Library states, "See it, own it, do it." It was written by a location manager to bring the organizational values to life. This story is extremely effective in taking the static values of service, curiosity, and sharing to the practical application of implementation. The Barrie Public Library values are about recognizing something that needs to be fixed. It's noticing that someone needs help. It's having an idea of a better way of doing something. It's understanding the importance of everyone's role. It's seeing a mess that needs to be cleaned. Another excellent example of successful storytelling is when libraries share the stories of their patrons. The Kitchener Public Library invites patrons to share their stories to inspire others to discover their local library, supporting their vision that together we can change lives. Their website features the story of a newcomer, Junate, who utilized the services of the library when he was new to Canada and struggling to become financially stable. He now gives back to the library in musical concerts to thank them for all of the support they provided him when he needed help the most. This is a successful story for both Junate and the Kitchener Public Library. Libraries can be forums for open discussions. Our public spaces should be an environment for community storytelling. There is power in stories and narrative that is derived from the story's ability to create a framework that the mind can understand. Lanke's challenges the held belief that people learn by reading, then doing, both individually and in groups. He suggests that in fact people learn through conversation and storytelling. When people encounter new ideas, then process the concepts, a new state of knowledge is achieved. Libraries who act on this mindset activate spaces and offer programs that ignite new states of knowledge. The Halifax Public Library offers a Preston Community Talks online program series that invites young adult males from the African Nova Scotian community. This program offers participants the opportunity to exchange ideas on education, employment, health, social justice, racism, and community history that bridge critical social pathways. Storytelling captures the wisdom and knowledge of the organization. It builds sustainable leadership through the dissemination of shared collateral and knowledge. Storytelling is a primary method for the collection, transmission, and retention of organizational information. These stories can share details on past process, creation of procedures, and the options for consideration in terms of decision-making. Walsh and Ungson discuss the three main functions of organizational memory. In the informal role, the organization collects and retains past process and procedures that can be implemented to expedite future projects. The control function can reduce the planning time required to implement a new project or make a decision. The political role is where organizational information becomes a source of power that influences or controls the actions of others within the organization. The Toronto Public Library has allocated a living history page on their website to share the story of how the library has contributed to the establishment of the city. They have selected key librarians that made a lasting impression on the communities they served. By sharing the story of Lillian Smith, the library has positioned themselves as a leader in children's services, and this historical story demonstrates how their staff are dedicated to excellence in reading resources for children. This story from 1952 would be a relevant story to share at a council meeting when requesting additional funding for an expansion to a library location that serves children at risk. Organizational storytelling inspires change and builds sustainable leadership through the dissemination of organizational collateral and knowledge. Corporate fantasy stories can dictate outcomes. In fact, Organizational change can be supported by a metaphorical story that aligns with the embedded culture and serves to provide vision during transition or change. However, corporate stories are just that, stories. It is critical that this story be shared at all levels of the organization and not only by those within the leadership or marketing team. The more these stories are told and retold by members of an organization, the more embedded the message becomes. Calgary Central Library used stories to change the mindset of both staff and their residents. They reframed a library as a place where people feel welcome and smart. The Central Library provided a catalyst and a structure for innovation for the whole organization. Calgary Public Library staff were active writers of this shared story. They conceived new programs and services and conveyed the change to their patrons. This organizational story assisted both the community and staff in managing the change in mindset and evolution to this new library space. Organizational storytelling supports a growth mindset and enables heuristics of learning that support self-awareness and results in productive outcomes. Stories reveal ourselves through reflection and imagination. They can be communicated verbally through the embodiment within the organization. These approaches can be applied to numerous topics and act as starters for essential conversations. Some stories are consumed, then digested over time by the listeners. This assists in the absorption of the full meaning and learning. The leadership can act as facilitators, debriefing with staff and working together to expand understanding and integrate implementation of the story principles. The Human Library is an example of the use of stories to foster self-awareness among individuals and corporations. The Human Library publishes the stories of people as open books that are designed to build a positive framework for conversations. They challenge stereotypes and prejudices through dialogue by borrowing real people to readers. Through in-person conversation, difficult questions are asked and answered in a safe, facilitated capacity. The Human Library originated in Denmark and has spread globally through more than 80 countries, often facilitated by public libraries to start conversations about diversity, equity, and inequalities. Thank you for participating in this learning opportunity on organizational storytelling in public libraries. I look forward to our online discussions. Feel free to contact me directly at ssador@ualberta.ca. Thanks so much.